Yeah, so we're live now. Just wait and see if anybody's watching, can you just put hello? See if anybody does come on. If not, we can just start.
I've got a few people coming on. I'm relying on my people to join.
To give them the right link.
Yeah, it's the
Hi,
yeah.
And
No, my people are coming on. That's shocking. That's shocking. I thought they were supported.
Unreliable.
Well, we can get started anyway. Laura's our biggest fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we get started then. So today's webinar, we're looking at healthy and unhealthy habits. So we've got me, Hannah Galloway. I'm the assistant psychologist for Heal Hub. Simra, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name's Simra. I am in second year of my degree studying primary education with QTS, and I received some support from Heal Hub, which is why I'm now kind of involved with helping out in webinars and stuff.
My name's Adam, and I'm in my first year of sixth form, and my specialty subject in school is health and social care. So let's get straight into this, if it lets me. Yeah. So the habits we'll be talking about today is excessive phone use, comfort eating and unhealthy foods, alcohol and drug abuse, and we might add in some more on the way.
Yeah. So, hi Fatima. So we're going to talk through these issues. If you just go back, Adam, back to the slide before, and because we feel that these things affect a lot of people, almost everyone at some point. So I know for me personally, I've done all of these things and been unhappy, for example, with the amount of alcohol that I've drank, or the amount of comfort eating I've done, and how much I've been using my phone. All of these things, especially the top two, within my life, is just things that I feel like I'm always battling to try and limit. How about you, Simra? Have you found that these have affected you?
So for me, it was at the beginning of lockdown, I really struggled with my phone. So I had a really bad habit of sitting in my bed and doing things like being on my laptop or being on my phone in bed. And I slowly realized the fact that eventually when I was trying to go sleep at night, I was struggling to get to sleep or struggling to stay asleep. So I started to limit myself. And now when I'm in bed, it's just to sleep. So in the morning, I make my bed straight away and I just don't sit in it. Because if I'm sitting in it, then I'm not associated. I could do myself a little bit. And also with the comfort eating, I'm the opposite. I don't eat enough. So I have to constantly remind myself to eat, because when I get anxious and I have anxiety, I kind of just forget to, take care of myself. And then in the night, I'll be like, why am I so tired and why am I so exhausted? But then I realize the fact that I haven't eaten all day. And it's kind of like a slap in the face, because it's like, oh, well, it's my responsibility to feed myself. But because, I get a bit carried away in whatever I'm doing and then I forget. How about you, Adam? I remember you mentioning that it was the opposite way around about food for you.
Yeah, so I eat a bunch of food when when my anxiety is high, or when I'm panicking about something. For example, I need to work at the last minute, and my excessive phone use. I spend a lot of time on my phone, on TikTok, Instagram, my socials. My life is basically on my phone. I will post everything and anything about my life, unless if it's a bit too personal. So
yeah, definitely. I think so guys, comment if put me too if you've experienced problems with any of these things, or if you've got any other unhealthy habits that you find yourself engaged with, that you're doing these things but you don't actually want to do them because they're not benefiting your life. So if we can think of any other unhealthy habits. So for me personally, I tend to if I'm stressed, I'll be avoidant and I'll kind of seclude myself from everyone. that's an unhealthy habit. I don't know about you guys. Have you got any other unhealthy habits?
Yeah, mine is bottling things up. So I have a really bad habit of letting things get too overwhelming before I deal with them. So instead of saying, oh, well, I feel anxious today, I'll deal with my anxiety today, or, I'll do some coping mechanisms and whatever. I'll let it build up. I'll ignore it until, I'm about to explode, and then, I have a panic attack or whatever. So for me, it was just trying to understand that by not dealing with it straight away, I was kind of making it worse for myself. And that was a really unhealthy habit, because I was kind of getting myself stuck in a cycle where I was like avoiding how I felt, and that was making me feel worse. And then I was avoiding it, and it just went on and on. Especially when you're stuck at home all the time, it's hard to get away from it as well. So yeah, that's a really bad habit. I think a lot of teenagers struggle with as well, because we don't really know how to speak about our feelings. And even when you go into therapy, the first 2 sessions are really hard because you don't know how to put words to how you feel. But beginning to try to use words to explain it, or using 4 words to describe how you feel in a moment, has really helped me try to understand, myself a bit better.
Yeah.
My big bad habit is socializing with family members. Like, I can't socialize with people properly if they know me like from a personal level since I was little to now. I've changed a lot. And when you try to hide something from them because you don't want to tell them everything about you, it's that. Like, I don't want, I always feel like I've got a fear of being judged too much.
Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult to open up about how you feel, and I think it's a process, and it comes part of hand with understanding yourself. You've got to be okay with a little bit of judging, because we can't all be kind to ourselves all the time. Like, it's really hard to be kind to yourself. It's easy for me to say, oh, be kind to yourself, Adam, and it's easy for me to be kind to you, but when it's to myself, I'm a bit more critical of myself. So yeah, I think we judge ourselves more than anyone else would ever judge us.
Oh yeah, definitely well said. I think so. Like, the avoidance seems to be an unhealthy habit that we can all have in common. And I think for all of these things, excessive phone use, comfort eating, unhealthy foods, alcohol and drug abuse, avoidance, they're all quick fixes, aren't they? It's easier to do these things. There are comforts, but we don't actually. They don't actually help us. Being in this comfort zone of doing these things doesn't necessarily become healthy. So if we look at now why we do these things.
Yeah. So on the next slide, we have some of the reasons why. There's a variety of reasons why people resort to all the following, but some of the main ones are to distract ourselves or to fill a void. So as a distraction, I have ADHD, so I constantly need a hit of dopamine to feel like stimulated in my brain or feel engaged. So TikTok is my source of dopamine. So I will just scroll on videos, and because they're short clips and it keeps your attention, I just end up scrolling for hours, and you get a bit time blind. You lose time in your day, and it's almost like a distraction from how you feel. And again, with the learning how you feel and being able to talk to yourself, it's really difficult to do that if you're constantly saying, oh, I'm on my phone, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. But then in lockdown, we've come to be with ourselves more, so we don't have an opportunity to distract ourselves all the time. So you have to face front your biggest fears of how you feel.
Well said, definitely. What do you think, Adam?
Well, for me, I use my phone to distract myself, along with I have a little pinch of an obsession with adrenaline, so I'll do something that adrenaline filled if I'm allowed to go out. So I've got that to distract myself. I've got my phone to distract myself, and to fill a void for me, that's just eating and eating and eating. Like, yeah.
And
For that as
also,
well, like alcohol and drug abuse. I've had people, I knew some people who used to, use alcohol and drugs to help them. And it's not like they think it's a long time solution to something really, like, for something long term. But it's a short term, like, you can be high for like 5-10 minutes and you'll be only happy from then. After that, you will come back to reality and you'll be sad.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, you can, those short 10 minutes whilst you're doing it, whether it's like alcohol, and I know alcohol lasts for longer, whether it's like your phone or eating or even like smoking, you might feel good in the moment and distracted from yourself. but then you just brought it back to yourself and you feel even worse than you would have if you wouldn't have done those things. So it's like we're trying to achieve, like, you know, stability, but doing these unhealthy habits, it's like going up, you get the spike, dopamine spike, and then you go even lower than you were before afterwards. And it's like the whole point of trying to create healthier habits is just trying to create more stability and less massive ups and downs. So I think this is why it's a good topic to talk about, because so many people have so many different unhealthy habits. So yeah, it's super important to look at why this is such an issue for everyone. So what can we do to try and minimize or decrease these unhealthy habits? Well, it's really just about becoming mindful and swapping them for healthier habits. I know that sounds a bit obvious, but it's literally just swapping them. So can you guys think of, so Simra, can you tell me some healthy habits that make you feel good?
So one thing that I learned when I was in therapy, which is one of the most useful things I've learned, is however I feel in the moment, I do the opposite to what I would do if I felt like that. So if I'm like feeling low or depressed, I act like I'm not, and like automatically it makes my brain think that I'm not. It's a bit weird. It's like reverse psychology on yourself. So I use music for that. So like a few nights ago, I went to sleep quite sad, and then I woke up and I still felt quite sad. And instead of like just wallowing in the sadness, I just put really loud music on and I just stood around my room and I danced. And even though it sounds like the most simplest of things, just standing in your room and dancing to a song, it helps because automatically, you know, you've got that a bit more of energy, and you know, you're thinking about it. You're not really thinking about how you feel as much, and you're trying to get on with your day. And also, like I said about trying to understand how I feel, I started writing more. So I don't really have the attention span to write and journal. So instead I have a blog. So I write how I feel on my blog, and I write in the form of poetry. So, and I have a few friends who are subscribed to it. And even though I struggle to talk about how I feel in words, when I'm writing, I'll get a message from my friends and they'll be like, oh my God, that was such a beautiful piece of writing you did. And automatically it feels like I'm a bit more heard than I'm not. And also when we were talking about alcohol and drug abuse, it's really common. And I feel like the problem is that we aren't taught about how common it is to develop a leniency, you know, towards alcohol and drug abuse. And because in school we're taught, you know, it's very rare to say no to drugs, it automatically becomes a stigma around it. And by talking about it, we're automatically just bringing out the idea that actually it is normal to struggle with that, not just depression and anxiety, but also substance abuse. And learning that understanding how you feel rather than filling the void with substances is going to help in the long term rather than immediate gratification from, you know, drinking or smoking.
Exactly.
Yeah, so the healthy habit I've had during COVID is music, and I go with the music on how I'm feeling at the first. So if I'm feeling sad, I'll listen to some people who I can relate to. For example, the Juice World XX Tentacion. We got JK from Birmingham if I'm feeling in the mood of listening to him. We got a bit of Mist as well. I can go on for ages, but along with that, I've got socializing with new friends and their friends. So I'm creating new links. For example, if I talk to my friend and they know someone from another area, I'll talk to them as well, just to create more friends and more variety around the UK and other countries.
Mm-hmm.
Along with that, like the podcast I do with another organization called Thrivecasters on Point. I like speaking out about stuff, so that helped me as well to speak out about what I, am very passionate about as well. How about you, Hannah?
All great ones. I think the thing that they all have in common is they are all cathartic, like release of emotion. So I feel like a lot of them have that in common. If you guys want to comment, what healthy habits help you? And when we're talking about healthy habits, we're thinking about things that are sustainable, that aren't going to really spike you, move up and then down, up and then down. So by healthy habits, think about things like healthy foods, activities, just anything that isn't bad for your brain. So unhealthy habits, we're looking at like alcohol, drugs, excess social media, unhelpful, like a lot of drama with your friends, or drama otherwise, just anything to distract yourself that's negative. We're thinking the opposite, so any positive stuff. So I know for me personally, journaling is something that I've gotten into and absolutely like changing my life. It's amazing. And also meditating. I do my best to try and meditate every day. I don't always do that, but it's really, really helpful. And then like socializing, making sure that I'm like speaking to my friends on the phone or on Zoom. It's obviously harder through lockdown. So it's just and then also like when we're out of lockdown, just like anything active. I've noticed in the comments, going for a walk. A few people said going for it. That's always great, isn't it? There's another one, eating fruit, reading books. That's great.
I feel like we make a mistake in thinking that when we're developing a healthy habit, it will be easy. So
Yeah.
like you meditate, right? If I was to meditate today, it would be incredibly difficult because I've never done it before.
Yeah.
But everything's difficult before you get into it.
Yeah.
And I know my brain goes haywire without a structure. So maybe like having a time of day where you do that one thing that is your healthy habit, and then at first meditating is hard because you don't really know how to do it very well. But as you keep doing it, it becomes something you look forward to. So having that, I look forward to Alexa playing my favorite song in the morning now because I'm used to it now. I've developed that habit. So it's just like getting into a routine and allowing yourself to have a healthy routine, because sometimes we don't want, as humans, we're afraid of change sometimes. And the idea of going from sad to happy is also a change, isn't it? And being okay with things changing, even if it is for the better.
Definitely. I think what you said about the fact that it's hard to form these new habits. Oh my God, it's so hard. It's like one of the hardest things ever. I saw on YouTube you can use the 2-minute rule, which is really, really great. So if you want to ingrain a habit in your life, if you do that thing for 2 minutes every day, so for example, meditating, do it for 2 minutes. If you want to do it for longer, carry on doing it for longer. If you just want to do it for 2 minutes, then stick to 2 minutes, because if you know that you're going to do something for 2 minutes, it's not as hard. Whereas if you knew you were going to do it for like 10 minutes, 20 minutes. So like anything that you wanted to do, even if you just make yourself do it for 2 minutes, that really helps. Even literally walking up and down the road and really helpful. But yeah, as you said before, like listening to music and dancing, even if you don't feel like it. So the saying like fake it till you make it. So it's like,
it works.
There's literally psychology and biology behind. If you smile, even if you feel crap, it releases endorphins. Even if you feel horrendous, if you just smile, it's like your body's tricking yourself to literally say, I'm happy. So if we go on to the next slide, we can just discuss what we need to know. Again, so we're talking about the fact that it's just not easy. So what do you guys think in terms of the things that we can do to help ingrain these new healthy habits?
So I'm not one who likes self-help books at all, but I have a really good one on mindfulness, and I my auntie got it for me for my birthday, and I think she's actually in here right now. But it's like about ingraining mindfulness in your life, and there's one quote which really helps me. So in the moment, I have this one that I say, which is, in all the chaos and movement in the world around me, I keep the stillness within myself. And that's how I manage to ground myself. And even when I'm doing something healthy and I feel like, oh, well, I'm doing something good, like, why do I not feel better? I remind myself that it's important to be in the moment and keep the stillness and the calmness in myself if I want to feel like that. But it has taken a lot of time for me to get my anxiety under control. But I have like a lot of control over my anxiety now because I've continued to do that over and over again. But it was a process. It took me years to be able to, do that. But now that I've got here, it's such a better place to be than when I was, and I'm glad that I started it then.
Yeah, that's brilliant advice. I love the being in the moment. What do you think, Adam?
For me, I would say, because I take health and social as a subject, we learn a lot about it, especially because I talk to the safeguarding lead in school as well, because of other problems. The thing which has helped me a lot, is obviously the 5-thing rule, where you write 5 things, what you're grateful for, what you love, and all that. And I'm not, as you said, I'm not like a big fan of books as well, but doing these routines which I do on a daily basis. For example, the 5 thing one, I'll do that monthly. Music is a daily thing for me. You know, just matching the vibe I have. That helped me a lot. It took time at the start, for example, to get into the mood of doing it and being motivated. But motivational videos help and all that as well. So that's helped me a lot. So now, like, from me being, really anxiety high to, you're calm, trying to be a collective person now is more easier at the moment.
Mm.
So, yeah. How about you, Hannah?
Yeah, those are all great tips. So I think in terms of developing healthy habits, I think it's really important to remember that it's really not easy to do. It's hard to do. But the first step is just being mindful. So being mindful of the amount. If you catch yourself, oh, I've been on my phone for hours and I feel really like a couch potato, or oh, I've ended up eating absolutely loads of junk food today. I've just finished a Domino's and some ice cream, and I feel, not to say that you shouldn't do those things. Yeah, of course, do those things, but it's just about trying to get moderation. So I think the first thing really is just to notice those things and think, okay, maybe my brain is craving some dopamine. Maybe not. I'm not feeling so great. What can I do that's more sustainable to make myself feel better? Can I read a book? Can I do this? But it's important to remember, with reading a book or going for a walk, you might not get that quick hit straight away, but that's okay. That is because you're not getting a fast dopamine, but by not getting that fast dopamine, you won't then go all the way down through it. So just being mindful and maybe using the 2-minute rule, and also just being kind to yourself, and you don't have to be rigid in terms of fitting all these healthy habits in every day. It's just doing it when you can. But I've just seen a question down here. So is there a chance to catch patterns before getting into a down period? Also, is feeling down unusual?
Yeah, there's one thing that I do when I can tell that I'm getting like to a point where I'm feeling down. I say stop to myself out loud. And if I'm like in that headspace where I'm about to become, like really anxious or like get into like a bit of a depressed state, I say stop really loudly to myself. And it's like that physical saying, stop, Simra, like just stop. In my head, I automatically stop thinking about those things. So I know like when I can tell that, I'm getting anxious, or like, noises are irritating me, or, I'm getting a bit overwhelmed, I can say stop to myself. And then that kind of like stops me going through that pattern and then becoming depressed for a few days. So that's what I do to help with that. If that answers a little bit of it.
Yeah, I think everybody's things that might happen before they start getting down is going to be different for everyone. So I know for me it's like a constant like tightness feeling in my chest. It's like I just have low mood. But it will be different for everyone. But you've also said is feeling down unusual. Obviously, everybody has highs and lows. Everybody has bad times and good times. That is completely life. That's never going to change. It's just if you're having a low for an extended period of time, like 2 weeks plus, that's when it might be experiencing depression or anything like that kind of thing. But if you do notice that you're feeling low, it's about catching that and then seeing what healthy habits can I then do at that moment in order to bring myself up in a happy way, in a healthy way. So how about you, Adam?
Well, for my down period, all I do is, I put on some music. That's what helps me. When I'm feeling down, I just click on music. I'll put on Spotify, and anything, just blast it out loud. Try not to get in trouble. And my thing about feeling down is, it's usual. Everyone, there's no escape from it. Like, for example, everyone's gonna feel down, at least a few times a month or a few times a week. It's human nature to feel down because it's feelings. You can't get rid of feelings, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a good point. You can't get rid of feelings. It's sometimes like you just need to. I think everybody just needs to feel that down feeling. I think we all try and escape that sadness because it's we don't want to feel sad, but it is human nature.
Yeah.
There's another question. So, is it always the same things that help you pick yourself back up?
I
So,
think it varies. It depends. With me, it depends day to day. Like some music is pretty consistent. It makes me feel a bit better. But some days, I can't even bring myself to write my feelings down. And then some days it's a little bit better, and I can talk about it or write how I feel. But there's like, once you keep doing it, your brain automatically associates it with feeling better. Like classical conditioning, if you're constantly associating, feeling better with writing, then you're automatically going to feel better when you pick up a pen and start writing. So I think it's just a case of routine, like you said, mentioned before, Hannah.
I think it like you said, the big, you could call it like your own toolbox, your own mental well-being toolbox filled with healthy habits. If you have a few, you can just choose a few different ones. I mean, there's ones that will always work, like exercise. If I'm feeling down, will always help me, even if it's like 0.1%. It will always make me feel slightly better. How about you, Adam? Do you feel like you always choose like one specific thing, or do you think it's
For me, it varies per every few hours, if you get what I'm trying to say. Like, it's like the weather, the British weather. One time I wanted to listen to music, like 1 or 2 hours later, I want to talk to someone.
yeah,
Or, yeah, it just changes like that. Or just watch a funny YouTuber or something like that. That works as well.
yeah, it's good mixing it up. So does anyone have any questions or anything else that they want to add or anything like that?
I liked Laura's comment about getting obsessed with wellness. I think when you get into self-help books and stuff, it's a bit of a, you can kind of, it encompasses you, and you automatically are obsessed with like becoming a better version of you. But I think like Adam mentioned before, it's okay to have feelings, and it's okay to be upset and to be hurting sometimes. But as long as after that you can pick yourself back up, and you know how to pick yourself back up and get on with things.
Definitely, it's all balance, 100%. I've just seen another one. Having a good cry can help process emotions. Oh, that is so true. It's
Especially at night.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. I think, yeah, I think as you just said, having a balance, allowing yourself to feel sad, but then just checking, have I been feeling sad for 2 weeks straight and I haven't been able to get anything done? It's just about having like a balance, or am I just having a down day? And it's just what you can do every day to just help yourself and ingrain really, really healthy habits. So that kind of brings us to the end of this webinar, but it's been great discussing this and having different viewpoints. It's been really good. So if you wanted to reach me on social media, my Instagram is at Hannah Kate Galloway. Adam, how can we reach you?
If you would like to find out about the other podcast I do or want to reach me, mine is Adam_Matara. As you can see down below is my name.
I'm on Twitter because I have a teacher Twitter account because I'm a primary education student. If you want to reach me, I'm at Miss_Kosa on Twitter.
Great. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye. Thank you.